Good morning, our merry Marvelites. Yes, indeed. It is 10 a.m. here on the West Coast, and very excited to be talking Marvel with each and every one of you. I am Christian Bladt, joined once again by the one, the only Michael Shirley.
Hey, you guys.
And of course, the what passes for globetrotting in a pandemic, Rachel Goodman, who left the state.
I did. I left the state. I was in Arizona, Nevada, and Utah at different points.
I didn't realize you went to 3 states. Now I'm worried about you.
I know. I'm definitely quarantining though. So
and shout out to Kame Egan, who says, "Hey, Marvel fans, good to see you there. Thanks for joining us." Now, if you're not up to date on the current season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you can watch for a little while. We'll let you know when things get super spoilery. It's going to just sort of be overall big pictures. If you don't want any spoilers, you might want to wait. But we just want to talk a little bit about it because we keep running out of time. And for those that don't know, Rachel and I are on the after show for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which we were doing over at AfterBuzz TV before they went on their hiatus. And now here on the Black Cast YouTube page, we're finishing out the season, which Rachel, I mentioned this in an email. There's next week's episode. And then I guess they're doing a 2-hour series finale the week after. So there's only 2 more airings of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Oh, good. No, so yeah, that's right. We have 2 weeks left, 3 episodes, and that final week we're gonna get that 2-hour special. At least
special, is that what you call it?
Yes, that's what I'm calling it. I am sad, and I know Michael, you and I might not agree on this, but I'm sad that it's ending. This show to me. It came out obviously started in 2013, and that was during a time when I was first, I feel like, 2013 for me was right when I was getting my start as a true adult living on my own. And so to see this show end, there's so many memories I carry with it that I am genuinely sad. And I wish that we had more, but at least hopefully next week we'll figure out whether Fitz is actually coming back or if he is already dead.
And at the moment, Ken is on Rachel's side. So bummed that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is coming to an end. I'm enjoying the season. I think that the last couple years I thought were really just interesting and different. I liked when they were in space. I love the idea of Daisy being the destroyer of worlds. I'm still counting on her destroying a world or two. I think she's going to live up to that at some point, which we'll talk about. But I've kind of enjoyed the way they figured out how to keep Clark Gregg on the show. I think I like LMD Coulson way more than Sarge. I would have taken Max Headroom Coulson, but and Keme has this point, by the way. I'm so far behind in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that it won't bother me to hear the spoilers because I probably won't remember them when I get around to watching it. Great. So stick around. We appreciate that. So that's just sort of overall feelings. And Michael, I know a little bit about where you stand. So just your thoughts on the show leading up to this season, and then what you're thinking about this season.
Well, leading up to this season, I was just I just washed my hands of it. I knew that when it came on Netflix, I'd begrudgingly sit through it. But I really was hoping they would just let Coulson die, poor guy. I mean, they kind of touched on that this week about oh, you've died so many times, and I've watched you, and my favorite one was this time. It's just I don't know. I felt like they were trying to keep something going that it's just, especially this season, is really not a pretty show to watch. It's very dull. The first few episodes were kind of fun. We got these different time periods, but I mean, I'll touch on that later, what I think about all that. But I don't know. I can't wait for the season finale.
Go ahead, Rachel.
No, I was going to say, I'm with you, Michael, in the sense that I do think that it was fun with in the beginning when we saw the different time jumps. I think my problem is, so as a fan and as someone who just ever since the framework really has just kind of loved the show, whatever they do with it. So it doesn't even matter if it's bad per se. I just love to watch because I am just that connected to the characters. But I agree with you. I do think the beginning of the season was definitely more fun. It felt like it had more of a direction in terms of, oh, we're going to go through different time periods and we're going to, have a new adventure in a decade or in like this particular year. And then suddenly, somewhere around the middle, it started to kind of fizzle away. And that was no longer the directive after we got stuck in the 80s. And I think what I do appreciate, though, is that with John Garrett, they are nodding back to, earlier moments of the show. And I want to see if they bring Ward back into it. I feel like that will not happen. We only have 3 episodes left, but I at least want a reference to Ward because his arc, even though, we know that eventually Hive took over Ward's body and then he was no longer Ward. I feel like Ward's arc really did not get to come full circle the way it could have. And we did see Ward, the character, in the framework again, but kind of like Jae-ying, where we're seeing this arc with her where if she is still alive...
Who's microwaving something?
I think that's Hubby Joe, right? Hubby Joe needs a little cup of Joe.
I'm trying to talk.
Sorry, go on.
No, sorry. No, like if Jae-ying happens to survive, I really wish that they could do with Ward what they're doing with her in the sense of, showing what that character could look like if they do not turn into a villain.
I like Ward.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some characters I do like. I like him.
I like Ward, and I think that he was a kid when John Garrett warped his mind. So they're not to say that Ward is excused because there are things he did that are inexcusable, but I think that there's something to be said about a child who was raised, kind of raised by John Garrett and taught to do certain things.
Yeah, I've been fairly outspoken of how when the show started, he was the thing that I liked the least. And I think Sky turning into Daisy made me really like that character. She had not been my favorite up until that point. Hacker Sky was not somebody that I felt like belonged as an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I do think that he got like he certainly became a more interesting character, but I'll be okay if he doesn't come back. Let's just put it that way. But also there's very limited time. Yeah. And still, where are Bobby and Hunter? I would much rather see those two. And just a nod from Trip. We don't really need to have a whole story with him. We can just get like a what's up from him. That would be all right too. But Bobby and Hunter. I know we saw Hunter once. And I know that, Adrian Padalecki is on the Orville, so that's one of the main reasons we haven't seen her. But you feel like we could get them somewhere closer to the series finale, but we'll see. But to what Rachel was saying, I liked the earliest episodes for sure. Any of the episodes that they did that were in a genre, in a specific time period. I like that one episode was in black and white. I like that we started out in the 40s. The 80s episode was fun for me just because I'm old. But it was still fun to see. And there was even like a great reference to the Deke Squad last night. Hey, I saw those guys open for Twisted Sister. So I thought that was... Go ahead, Michael.
There's just very little I liked about this season. I enjoyed when Agent Carter was like a jumping off point for Gemma to kind of finally shine a little bit this season. And I enjoyed seeing the Roosevelt Hotel in the black and white.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was cool. I agree.
I really, we haven't been able to talk about it, but I really, really enjoyed the old S.H.I.E.L.D. suits. That was just...
I talked
really
about
cool.
that on the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. after show. I want those blue zip up S.H.I.E.L.D. suits. I can't believe that they haven't tried to sell them to me yet.
That's
really
so
on Disney.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll be seeing them for Halloween 2022.
Yeah, that's probably about the time. Yeah. They'll roll them out.
And I also really enjoyed a couple episodes when they brought these new like Inhumans on, or just like this new, I don't even know that they were all Inhumans, but like this new crew onto the SHIELD ship. And I thought that was something that, you know, we've really been missing with the show. Is kind of, it's like you're there for a while and then you're gone, and then there's some new people, and it just kind of seemed like after Natalie Cordova Buckley, we got Deke, and that was just it. And I didn't really, I didn't like Deke. So I was like, oh, that's gonna be really cool that they have these new characters and they all have really fun attitudes. And then we don't see them for a whole episode, and then we only see one of them the last episode. I thought that was kind of sad. I really enjoyed when they were introduced, how they like interacted with the SHIELD team.
My thing is,
no, go on.
My thing is, like, if we're talking about overall thoughts of the entirety of SHIELD, I thought that for me, like, watching season 1 when it first came out, I remember being moderately interested, but I was intrigued by the characters. I agree with you, Christian, about Skye. To be quite honest, Skye kind of irritated me in the beginning because I work in IT, and so I was like, oh, okay. Like, I just kind of felt like, I was like, this is not really how, like, I mean, not that I'm a hacker or anything.
Well, they needed like a Jubilee Kitty Pryde type of little character that gets caught up in it all.
Well, yeah, but like by the end,
Rachel's problem was that's not an accurate Ethernet cable. Come on, she would never try and plug that in.
No, it wasn't. But no, I mean, beyond that, though, I did think by the end of season 1, what pulled me in personally to the characters was the mystery behind who Skye was when they introduced that near the end. And also Fitz and Simmons, of course, is really what kind of drew me like, okay, I'm going to keep watching this show. And then by season 2, I think that they really did start to hit their peak in terms of the drama and bringing everything together and making it more, you know, not soap opera-y, but like more dramatic in the sense that we weren't just getting a new mission every week. We were getting more of a throughput of what was happening with the plot and watching the character development. And so for me, yeah, like I feel like it kind of picked up steam into and really like drew me into, okay, well, Skye has this entire, you know, dynamic with her, like she's actually related to Jiaying. And we just got so much more background of who she was and what was happening with the Inhumans, which I thought was amazing. And meeting all of those new characters, then I kind of thought that it sort of dropped again until we got to the framework. And to me, that was just so cleverly written. I know you don't agree, Christian, but to me, the framework was just very like brilliantly written and is just the highlight of the entirety of the show. But then I think what kind of irritated me a little bit is that right when we got out of the framework, they just moved on from it. And I get that. I get it's a show that it's fast paced. It's going to move on and do something else. And I guess the writers felt they needed to do something new every season. But I feel like they had so much more they could do.
People watching, there's a little bit of everybody off. We're having a little bit of a connection issue, but I'm going to try and bring everybody back. I hope that we're doing okay. I can see myself, but I don't see Michael, and I don't see. There you go. So there's hey. Rachel, and there's Michael. I lost you guys. I think it was I don't know. It must be my connection because you guys started to get a little garbled, and then you were both gone.
I'll just finish what I was saying really fast. That I wish that they would have stuck with the AI and stuck with the framework, because I think that the downfall to me is that now granted the show lasted pretty long for network television,
sure.
But my downfall to me is that I feel like the writers thought they had to keep moving forward and do something different each season. Whereas to me, the framework could have been something they explored a lot more, especially the ramifications of what these agents went through coming out of the framework. And Yeah, I feel like they could have slowed it down a little bit and just stuck with one topic for a little bit longer and then moved on to maybe space.
Well, I was very intrigued with the framework, but I honestly felt it went on at least 3 episodes too many. So I was ready for it to be over. No, I really was interested in what they were doing at first. And for me, that season also was an important moment in my appreciation of the show, but it was the Ghost Rider part of the season. That made me excited to watch it again. And I did like that we got to see him again. Ada in general was so infuriating to watch. I just felt like as she became more real, she became the actress was being given bigger and bigger notes for how, and she just became a worse actress. So she annoyed me to no end. And I was just like, that season, I was glad that it ended. And I loved when they were in space, that they brought me back from that. I think it's an interesting concept, and I like that they still reference it and that the importance of it is still felt throughout these last couple seasons, even for Fitz, when we kind of saw the reemergence of Leopold. But what I was going to say is that even when my appreciation for the show was at its lowest, which is about midway in season 1, I always loved Fitz and Simmons from the first episode. I always liked the two of them. Obviously, I always liked Clark Gregg. I thought that season 1 ended very strong, and then season 2 didn't quite have that momentum. But again, they seem to usually end well. But yeah, like you said, it's been on more years than I think a lot of us expected. It's been on longer than people who make the show thought. I mean, they thought 2 seasons ago was the season finale. So for some of us, we enjoy these extra stories. But Michael, it seems that they've squeezed a little bit too much out of the Shield sponge for you, right?
The show's just never really been what I wanted it to be. I always kind of wanted it to be more like a MacGyver, like Pamela Anderson VIP, like where every episode's like something different. Maybe like use some of that Joss Judd Whedon cheesiness. It just Marvel just wouldn't let them use any good characters. Like, it's just, they had to worry so much about the cinematic universe. I just feel like that show never got to really be free and be, I mean, when I watch the show, that's so different than kind of what I think of S.H.I.E.L.D. being like and how S.H.I.E.L.D. worked when I would read the comic books. It's just, I don't know. I would have expected everyone to be a little more professional and have them like crap.
Yeah, look, I mean, the thing that works against the show is just by nature, other than the one appearance, you were never going to get Nick Fury on this show. You know, and like Nick Fury and the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is really what S.H.I.E.L.D. should be. I think giving us Coulson was very important because at least there was some connection to the movie universe. But I think that they were also afraid to do the show without him because, I guess once he died one time and came back, they're like, well, let's just have him, do more. I wanted to get this comment from Kame Egan in. I enjoyed season 1 because it was well written and the characters had great chemistry. The only thing I didn't care for was the love interest between Skye and Ward. That really resonates with me because they were my 2 least favorite characters at that point. And I was like, yeah. But I thought Ward and May was just, it was felt so forced, and I'm like, this is very unnatural,
I thought it felt unnatural too with Ward and May. I actually did like Skye and Ward, which is why one of the reasons I liked the framework is what I was hoping they would do is somehow, how they had the ability to bring back an AI into a real human body. I kind of hoped that was their way of bringing Ward back in, but as good Ward. But in any case, I digress. I do agree though. I do overall, like once we got to about the halfway point of season 1, I did start to really enjoy the show. And I think for me, the weakest season, in my opinion, was season 6, because we did not get the real Coulson. We had Sarge, and that annoyed me. So I feel like they do have
I agree.
Yeah, I'm glad
It
we
was a weird season for sure.
Yeah, not my favorite. I still enjoyed it. It just wasn't my favorite based, compared to the
No,
rest.
and I think LMD Coulson at least makes more sense. You know, the Sarge thing, I never felt like they did a good job explaining it. And one of the things we've touched on is sort of this overarching story between Fitz and Simmons. Of course, it's always the determination to keep them separated. And I think that's never been more infuriating than it is this year, because Rachel and I have a theory about Fitz. But the fact that regardless of what happens in these last 3 hours of the show, we've gone 10 episodes without him, without a flashback with him, without a message he recorded a while ago.
In a trunk or something, or in a car? Or am I crazy? Or is that at the very
Not this season. And this is why I'm upset. If he's dead, fine. But this was the last season we ever.
He's not going to be dead.
Well, but let's just play the devil's advocate here and say that he is, right? Even if he is, we spent 10 episodes without the actor. And this is the last time we're ever going to get S.H.I.E.L.D. So whether he is or isn't dead, they did a disservice to the fans by not including one of the major characters in any of this. They could have given us flashbacks. They could have given us hints. Nothing. And if this was not the final season, if we had another season after this, fine. Like if they were trying to trick us and be evil about it, I get it. But this is the final season that we're ever going to get this show. That's my problem with what they chose to do with this.
It feels like a lot of buildup, and I just don't care. Like it's like, oh, is he or isn't he? I'm just like, who cares? I don't know. There's a lot of, I don't know. Christian, you better.
No, I look. It's there's the tragic story. It's like at least they had we had the beautiful wedding for them, and the death of Fitz, I thought was really well handled. That was season 5, right? So then last season, she had to go and find sort of go back in his timeline to where he was basically hibernating. And in theory, like the way that they do time travel now, you don't need to then make sure that this fit goes back into that box and then wakes up in the future. Because the way, Avengers Endgame broke time travel the way we understand it. It's basically you can go back and you can kill baby Hitler and everything's going to be fine, is basically what they're trying to tell you. So, which it's a choice, but it's interesting. I guess it frees them up from having to, if Fitz is dead, then you follow the old time travel logic, then everybody's going to disappear because he never went to the future and saved them or whatever. So I don't know. Well, it can give you a headache for sure.
Also, I don't think that Deke's going to disappear, even if he is dead, even if Fitz is dead.
Agreed.
That is.
Yeah. But what about Daisy?
I don't think that it works the same way as Back to the Future, and I think they've kind of hinted at that.
Yeah.
But also, I have another theory that we don't know how long Gemma was in the future before she went back and grabbed the rest of the team on the Zephyr. My theory is that if Fitz is dead, and if it matters that if it matters that in this alternate timeline she, never had a child with Fitz, I think that they will answer that by saying, oh, well, she did have a child with Fitz already. We just don't know because she's been sent on this mission and she can't remember that she had this daughter yet. I don't know. I'm just thinking that if they need to explain it and explain why Deke is still around, I have a feeling that's what they're going to do.
Right. And Michael, to your point, obviously, if you follow the old time travel logic, Daisy would not exist if her mother suddenly dies. So clearly they're abandoning all of that. What's that? Sorry, I was speaking over you, Michael. What was that?
Well, my question with that, what? So can she not go to the future? Is she going to have to stay in the past to exist? And so my only real theory for how this is going to work out, I think they can't not go back to that Sousa New York City cop thing. So I feel, I feel like something's going to happen and like Daisy's going to go back in time with him and we're going to lose her, like living in the past.
I mean, that's a very interesting theory. I don't think she needs to live in the past, though. I think that what this show has established, and it's also been established in Endgame, is that if you go back and kill your past self, you're not going to disappear. You're just creating, some kind of alternate timeline. So I guess it makes it easier to tell the stories you want to, but boy, is it messy when you have all these bodies of people who shouldn't be dead yet, and then they are, And
here's the thing is just that with Daisy, in the timeline where she came from, her parents did have her. So in my mind, the way I'm understanding time travel in this universe is that when you split a timeline, your old timeline still exists somewhere else. You've diverged from it. So like this Jiaying that Daisy met was never going to be the Jiaying that had Daisy. I mean, maybe or maybe not. We don't really know, but it doesn't matter because the Jiaying that was going to have Daisy did have her. And so Daisy's not going to just disappear. I also don't think Jiaying is dead necessarily, though.
No one's ever dead.
Yeah.
Except Ruby.
Healed from worse.
Yeah, no, Ruby is definitely dead. But you're right, especially because of what Jiaying's power is. I mean, the fact that she can heal.
They cut her up into pieces the last time and she survived.
Yeah.
What's the next snap? Honestly, she's good.
Since we're speaking about the current episode, and sorry for the people who needed the spoilers, but I feel like if you're in this deep, you're really into the show and you're up on it. How do we feel about the actor playing young Garrett? I'll go first. Not a fan.
Oh, well, first of all, for anyone who doesn't know, that's his son. That is Bill Paxton's son, James.
Yeah, which is great. I do love the idea of the casting.
I love it. I thought he did a great job. I mean, who else is going to understand his dad better than the son?
Right.
He really, I thought he really pulled the personality out.
I felt like it was as if John Garrett had been Stifler in American Pie. That's what we got. But that's just my take. And now that you laughed at that, I'm going to use that in tonight's show too. So be ready to laugh again. What do you think? Am I being a little harsh, Michael, or how did you feel about young John Garrett?
I just don't care at all about him.
It's a perfectly valid answer.
This is just the reality of it. When you're watching TV, you watch what you want to watch. But with what we do with AfterBuzz, in a show like this where you have a big universe and there's a ton of shows under it, you're not gonna like every show unless you were just blindly in love with everything Marvel does. And this is just a show that is, I need mutants, like I loved when they were doing the Inhumans, like I was like, well, finally something fun. But like, I don't know. I have so many problems with this season. I feel like this whole season is a giant ripoff of like the Arrowverse, mainly like Legends of Tomorrow. It feels like the exact same formula, And then the episode the week before last, with the Groundhog's Day, it was just like the Arrowverse episode they did last season with Oliver Queen and Laurel Lance. Like it couldn't have been any more similar. Like them trying to be like, all right, well, we've done this like so many times. Like, let's try to remember this thing. All right, let's do it faster next time. And then there's all this stuff with like time and messing with time, and you got the Flash, and all this, the giant big crossover they had,
I will say, as a Flash fan, there are so many similarities to what they've done with the Flash in time this season.
It's just and to go back to just everything else I hate that's like actually just a very Shield thing. Like I was finally starting to give Mac a break. Like finally starting to give him a break. But it's like, why in the world is this guy the leader of the team? Like in any capacity, is it because he's a man? Is it because he's the biggest? Like he's without a doubt the most emotional person on the team. like, I mean, granted, yeah, having your parents' faces wiped off and thrown out of a plane, like, that sucks. But, like, whatever. Like, I mean, I think the leader of this team, obviously, I mean, I feel like I don't see how anyone
That
could
definitely
see different.
sucks. I agree.
How can it not be Daisy? Like, how is she not leading the team? Like, I get why May can't lead the team because she's like a sociopath now. So, like, it's, I mean, or even Gemma. Gemma stays behind. So she could be, you know, kind of like, you know, the leader's safe. The leader's got in everyone's ear. The leader's looking out for everything. Like, I just, what, do they just want to make me mad? Like, I don't understand. It's I don't get the Mac thing at all.
The thing is that they not even hinted, directly stated, Coulson at one point said he was looking at Daisy to be the next leader of S.H.I.E.L.D. So I agree with you. I don't understand what, like, I guess.
Or even Yo-Yo.
Well, and I do see like why maybe Daisy couldn't be the leader at the time because she did go through
her sad, whatever.
Yeah, and she left the team for a while, so I get that. But eventually,
it's always sad.
Eventually, it should have been Daisy who took over.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it was an odd choice at the time, but I don't know.
Let the LMD be in charge.
Well, yeah. Well, and I did think that at least we had that moment last night where Mac defers to Coulson. He's like, don't be like that. Just tell me what you're thinking. You know, he realizes the asset they have in terms of having a Coulson LMD. But yeah, I think that, you know, look, there's some interesting choices that they've made that you feel the repercussions throughout the run of the show for sure. And, you know, just the way that Coulson has been used. And then also, you know, Daisy not being the leader for whatever reason, because she's not ready. I don't quite know what that is, but you're definitely right. It can't be May. So Michael, we've got a little bit of time left, but Michael, is there something this season that you're like, okay, this I enjoyed? You said you liked some of the time.
I told you everything. That's it.
That's
I
it.
The suit.
Okay.
I liked the Roosevelt. I liked Agent Carter, and I like the new guys that they're just
how do you
all
feel
the juices
about
out of them.
How do you feel about this this Daisy Souza relationship that we're getting to see more and more of?
I want him to take her to the past and stay there with her.
And then they can have a little dance like Steve and Peggy at the end of Endgame.
I've just never really been a huge fan of Daisy. She doesn't really bother me anymore. I enjoy her when she's using her powers and when she's real mad. Like, I was really hoping this week, like when her hair starts flying up, you know, and like she was just gonna let him have it. And I don't know why she didn't. I don't know if it was because she worried the place was just going to collapse on them or what. But hopefully we're going to see her Hulk out before this is all over.
I definitely agree with that. And you're right. I thought that she was, you know, obviously because of what had just happened, she saw happen to her mother, the fact that, you know, she was already emotional just seeing her and talking to her. So I did think we were going to get that. And I thought we were being set up for that too, when, you know, Nathaniel Malick shows like, oh, look how real Quake powers work. And, you know, just the idea.
I was like, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All I really want to add to that is the fact that I don't think, you know, like I said earlier, I don't think Jiaying is dead. I do like that Daniel stepped up and told Daisy, hey, if you need a wingman, I will be there to support you. And not only did he go and support her, but he really kind of helped her initiate that conversation, you know, just kind of, I just feel like Daisy is not used to, you know, males being like him. And so this is like a breath of fresh air for her. And also it's Daniel Sousa, so he's just an all-around good person. And if he's not going to be with Peggy, then I feel like Daisy's the right one for him. But also just kind of getting back to Jiaying, I don't think, one of the reasons I am hoping she's not dead is because I don't think that we've seen we saw Jiaying's reaction to finding out what happened in Daisy's timeline. And I think this gives Jiaying an opportunity to adjust what she does and to react differently. And now that she's lost one daughter, and not, now that she's lost one daughter to someone like Nathaniel and seen what anger can do to a person and bring them to this dark place, maybe in Korra, Jiaying will be able to recognize that you don't have, like, you can be angry but also not react by killing people either.
Right.
And doing the wrong thing.
Just to bring it back to Sousa for a moment, of course, that's just like a man to make you introduce him to your parents before you're ready to do it. He's just like, come on, let me meet your mom. Come on, your parents love me. But I think that there's so much more that we can get out of her that I feel like we'll see her in the series finale. But who knows? They have a lot of, there's a big mess for them to kind of untie. And Michael, I feel like you'll just be so relieved when it's over. But at this point, you're like, yeah, I guess I have to check it out, and just see where it's going. I think that Daisy really, when she became Daisy, when she became Quake, became one of the characters that I really liked the most on the show. I think that it gave her, she just became, there was so much more to her. And I think that definitely made her more interesting. So I definitely want whatever ending she gets, I want it to be a good one. Now, Enoch warned us that the team won't be together at the end of this. And so in our final few minutes.
Can we talk about all that?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Oh my gosh, that poor robot. I mean, why do you think they have all those movies about robots turning on humans? Because people they're just going to treat robots like garbage. Leaving him for what? Like 1 million years? Look at that.
Yeah, bar. I mean, they would always leave him behind, and then it's like, I guess we have to kill him. Hey, don't you want to take a minute to try and save his life? Nope, we got to kill him.
I was just like, God, is there any kind of lesson in this that's good?
I mean, going to Enoch's point, though, that the team won't be together, I think that what this season has shown us is that it's not necessarily time is not necessarily a resolute thing, which we saw in everything we were dealing with in season 5 with, can we reverse time? Can we change things? And the answer that the show is arguing is yes, we can. So I don't necessarily believe what Enoch said in the sense that the team is never going to see each other again. I almost wonder if we're going to get this ending scene where they are together, but they're just retired and no longer doing the mission.
At the Shield old folks home where they're all retired. And,
yeah. But that does pull the question because Coulson will never die. So I almost wonder if they're going to flash forward to when everyone is dead and they show him like unplugging.
Yeah. He's like, I forget it. Finally, there's nothing for me to live for. Yeah. I don't know. I'm intrigued to see where they go. I think that this season will probably, when I look back on the show as a whole, it'll have a couple of my favorite episodes. I really like that black and white episode. Mm-hmm. I think they've done some interesting things, but I don't entirely disagree with Michael. This show is infuriating at times.
I think that was that fun part that you mentioned. I think that was just straight up stolen.
What, the black and white episode?
Well, just all of those jump into different, I mean, that was just stolen straight from Legends of Tomorrow.
I mean, it's also
that show is.
Yeah, I mean, it's also basically like the Quantum Leap playbook for anybody who has that from the late 80s and early 90s. It's just like, we're somewhere different. So,
I mean, we kind of talked about this a long time ago, but I never really felt a need for S.H.I.E.L.D. to go to space.
I agree with you.
No, I didn't need it, but I did like that storyline.
And it's turned it into this whole other thing now.
Yeah. I think they needed to. Sorry, go ahead, Rachel.
No, that's exactly where I feel like the show didn't lose me, but started to disappoint me. Not that I did not like it, because I did, like Christian has been saying, I did like some of the storylines we got with space and time travel, and I love any kind of story that revolves around time travel because it's just infinitely interesting to me. But I agree that that's kind of them going into space. I feel like that was just them pulling for straws to keep the show going, when they could have stuck with what they had already.
Yeah, I think that the idea to go into space was they needed to get so far removed from Infinity War and Endgame, and people wondering like, well, what's going on? Well, we're going to go to the future. We're going to go to space. We'll figure it out. And then they figured it out, and that they're just going to
all
ignore
that
it.
stuff's in space.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, but you're not dealing with what happened on Earth, what happened, so
Okay.
because by not addressing it, it would be weird. Yeah, well, exactly. So it's just like wherever their alternate timeline didn't happen or whatever, I don't know. Look, the whole thing's a mess, and they've got 3 hours, and really, when you cut out the commercials, they've got 2 hours and 15 minutes basically to try and wrap all of this up, but while also giving us a satisfying finale. If there's one thing you hope for from the series finale, Rachel, what is that?
That Fitz will not actually be dead, and that our theory is wrong, and that what we're going to get is a happy ending with all the drama that's happened in the last so many years. I just want to see the characters that we love just happy and settled and retired. And like with Coulson, and obviously, I would be sad if they all live far apart from each other, that they never see each other. So I'd hope that we get Fitz, that he's alive, and that everyone lives close enough that they can still get together.
Yeah, you want that? We're going to hang out all the time after college vibe, and really, they just like twice ever. Michael, other than when it fades to black and goes to the end credits, what are you most hoping for from the series finale?
I would like it if Daisy was happy, and I think that if she and Sousa went to another time period and she could start over, that would be good for her. She doesn't really have any family, and I don't think Cora's going to make it. I think we would have heard of Cora if she made it. I think she's going to be gone. I hope that Mac and Yo-Yo live happily ever after.
I hope so.
I don't care what happens with Fitz and Simmons. It seems like they're just destined to have a terrible relationship. So I feel like what would be most befitting to them is if they didn't find a way to send Zeke forward and he had to stay with them and drive them crazy for the rest of their lives.
What? That would be the most Fitz and Simmons thing, that for everyone else to have a happily ever after, they have to not be together for some reason. They have to make some ultimate sacrifice.
I want to see Coulson,
and they would. I feel like they both would. So
I want to see Coulson be turned off and like be left just alone to die. Just like let him in. And I want to see May get her own team and just do what she does best and bring the cavalry.
Well, I think that the turning off Coulson scene, Rachel, they can just basically do a shot-for-shot remake to when Picard turned off Data in the new Picard series. She's like, just do that. And it's like, but aren't you already dead? Yeah, but now I'm really dead.
I mean, here's the thing, though. If they do turn Coulson off, and that's the last shot we get, to me, even though that would make me sad and would not be the ending that I want, I would respect it because it would be at least poetic in the sense that we began a series on the premise that this character was dead, and then we end and he is actually dead.
Yeah. Well, do you want him to be the new spokesperson for Energizer batteries? Like, the new bunny.
Before we wrap up, another comment from Kemi Egan. Maybe Fitz is stuck at level 7 where Coulson came from in the first season. So
who knows?
Yeah. Well, if you haven't had your fill of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. talk, join us tonight at 9 p.m. Pacific. You'll see Rachel, myself, Katie, and Tehran on the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. after show, which we only have 2 more of those after this. And you can find that on the same YouTube channel right here for all of your after show needs, as long as it's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The Black Cast, BLADTCAST. That's our channel. Go ahead and subscribe. You might enjoy some of the other stuff, but we will talk S.H.I.E.L.D. And we'll be back next Thursday to talk about more Marvel stuff. I just thought we had really needed to catch up on S.H.I.E.L.D., get people ready. And Michael, do you feel better now that you've gotten to vent?
No. I'll feel better in 2 weeks.
Oh, well,
I'd be so happy for our finale show.
well, Rachel, I know you have to head off to work. So where can people find you to keep in touch with you?
You can find me on either Twitter at Rach Goodman or on my author Instagram account at Rachel Radner Author.
All right. Thank you. And Rachel, I'll see you tonight along with everyone else at 9 Pacific for the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. After show. So, all right. So you'll feel better in 2 weeks. That's not going to be that long. So like that's one less week than maybe we thought before last night.
Oh, man. I was worried that it was going to be 13 and we would have had another week.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, it is 13 hours. So the finale's 2 hours. You're going to have to sit through 2 of them.
But I can get over it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You just power through it. Yeah, if they want to air 3 hours next Wednesday, that'd be
I'll watch it.
Well, in our final moment, I wanted to because we did this before we started. I wanted to show off the shirt that I'm wearing, and you can show people yours. I love this one. I wanted it for our Chris Claremont interview, but it just came like 2 days ago. So I'm going to hold it up. And I love it. It's the old corner box. Very specifically, it's from Uncanny X-Men 129, which is the first appearance of Kitty Pryde. And now, Michael, people get confused about your shirt because they think she's nude on it, right?
Yes. I've got, I was talking, this was the comic book cover that J. Scott Campbell did that I was talking about a few weeks ago, where all of them were kind of a team. And it's Black Cat, Firestar, Photon, I forget what her other name is.
And there's Patsy down there.
Yeah, and then here's our old girl Patsy. Yeah. But yeah, everyone always thinks, why is she not? I had one of my friends ask me today, why does she not have nipples? And I said, well, it's a suit.
Yeah, so she's not naked.
I remember our old co-host Carrie Lane was just staring at him the whole show. I wore it that one time at AfterBuzz.
Oh, that's very funny. Our old Marvel TV Weekly show that we did there. And by the way, Emma Egan, that is one sexy shirt, Michael. I agree. I love that picture. Well, we'll see what fashion we can bring to the show next week. Michael, if people want to keep in touch with you, where should they do that?
You can find me on Instagram at I Hate Michael Shirley and on Twitter at Michael X Shirley. So I always count on Christian to do the Q
I need the act. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and you can, of course, as it says on the screen, you can find me at Christian DMZ, and I'm all over this channel. This is my YouTube channel, Blackcast. You can find the regular episodes of the podcast I do called the Blackcast, BLADTCAST, and some interviews I've done with musicians and some other people. It's all over there.
And me.
So, and of course,
do you interview me? Yeah,
I did. But that's an audio episode. So you need to go to blackcast.com to find that. But that doesn't mean we can't do it again. We had to talk about Roseanne because that was when she got in all that trouble. Yeah, I have a friend who works on the Connors. By the way, she works in the production office, and they're getting ready for season 2 or 3. 3, I think.
I can't even imagine being there. That'd be so fun.
Yeah, exactly. Just like, what's Jackie going to do this week? Anyway, that's where you can find us. And as I mentioned tonight, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. After Show at 9 p.m. Pacific. That's all the time we have. As the great Stan Lee would say, Excelsior.